From translation, TLB, the Living Bible. This 11th day of the year. Today we are reading passages Genesis 32 to 34. Genesis chapter 32, verses 1 to 32. Jacob continued his journey, and angels of God came to meet him. When Jacob saw them, he exclaimed, "This is God's army." So he named the place Mahanaim, which means two camps. Then Jacob sent messengers on ahead to his brother Esau, who was living in the region of Seir in the land of Edom. He instructed them to say, "This is what your servant Jacob says. I have been staying with Laban and have remained there until now. I have oxen and donkeys, sheep and goats, servants and maidservants. I have sent this message to inform you, hoping to find favor with you." When the messengers returned to Jacob, they reported, "We went to your brother Esau, and he is already on his way to meet you. He has 400 men with him." Jacob was terrified and distressed. He divided his people and the flocks and herds and camels into two separate camps. If Esau attacks one group, the other group can escape. Then Jacob prayed, "O God of my grandfather Abraham and my father Isaac, the Lord who told me to return to my homeland and promised to care for me, I am not worthy of all the unfailing love and faithfulness you have shown to me, your servant. When I left home with nothing but a walking stick, now I have become two camps of people. Please rescue me from the hand of my brother, Esau. I am afraid of him, for he might come and kill me and all the women and children with me. You promised, I will surely treat you kindly and make your descendants as numerous as the sand along the seashore, too many to count." That night Jacob stayed there and selected a gift for his brother Esau from what he had brought with him. 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 foals. He divided these animals into herds and assigned each to one of his servants. He instructed his servants, "Go ahead of me, but keep a space of about a mile between each herd." Then he said to the leading servant, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks, 'Whose servants are these? Where are you going, and who owns these animals in front of you?' you should reply, 'They belong to your servant Jacob, but they are a gift sent to you, my lord. And look, he is right behind us." He gave the same instructions to the second and third servants and to all the others who followed the herds, saying, "When you meet Esau, say the same thing to him. And be sure to add, 'Look, your servant Jacob is right behind us.'" For Jacob thought, "I will appease Esau with this gift, and then I will see him face to face. Perhaps he will be friendly to me." So the gifts went on ahead of him, while he spent that night in the camp. During the night Jacob got up and sent his 2 wives, his 2 servants, and his 11 sons across the Jabbok River. After they had gone, he sent over all his possessions. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until dawn. When the man saw that he couldn't win the match, he struck Jacob's hip and knocked it out of joint as they wrestled. Then the man said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked. "Jacob," he replied. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with both God and humans and have won." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. Jacob named the place Peniel, which means face of God, for he said, "I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been spared." The sun rose as Jacob passed over Peniel, and he was limping because of the injury to his hip. Even to this day the people of Israel do not eat the tendon near the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. Genesis chapter 33, verses 1 to 20. Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming toward him with his 400 men. Jacob divided his children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 servant women. He put the servant women and their children in the lead, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. He himself went on ahead and bowed low to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet him, embraced him, kissed him, and began to weep. Then Esau kissed him again. Esau looked up and saw the women and children with him. "Who are these people with you?" he asked. Jacob replied, "They are the children God has graciously given to me, your servant." Then the servant women and their children came and bowed before him. Next, Leah and her children came and bowed. Finally, Joseph and Rachel came and bowed before him. Esau asked, "What do you mean by all these droves I met?" "I wanted to win my brother's favor," Jacob explained. Esau said, "I have plenty of livestock, my brother, keep what you have." But Jacob insisted, "No, please. If I have found favor in your eyes, accept this gift. Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God, and you have received me favorably. Please take my gift, for God has been gracious to me, and I have everything I need." And Jacob urged him until Esau finally accepted. Then Esau said, "Let us travel together, and I will go ahead of you." But Jacob replied, "My Lord knows that the children are young, and the flocks and herds are nursing their young. If they are driven too hard for even a day, all the animals will die. "My lord, please go ahead of your servant. I will lead the animals along at a slow pace, according to the pace of the children and the livestock, until I arrive in Seir with you." Esau replied, "Then let me leave some of my men and animals with you." But Jacob said, "Why? All I want is to find favor with my lord." So Esau started back for Seir that day. Meanwhile, Jacob traveled to Sukkot, where he built a house for himself and made shelters for his livestock. That is why the place was named Sukkot, which means shelters. Jacob arrived safely at the city of Shechem in the land of Canaan. On his way from Paddan Aram, he camped just outside the city. And he bought the plot of land where he had camped from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. Then Jacob set up an altar there and called it El Elohe Israel, which means God, the God of Israel. Genesis chapter 34, verses 1 to 31. One day Dinah, Leah's daughter, went to visit the young women of the land. But when Shechem, the son of the local king, saw her, he seized and raped her. He was deeply attracted to Dinah and spoke tenderly to her, trying to win her affection. Shechem went to his father Hamor and said, "Get this young woman for me to be my wife." Meanwhile, Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah. But since his sons were out in the fields with the livestock, Jacob held his peace until they returned. When Shechem's father Hamor heard about it, he went to discuss the matter with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's sons returned from the fields when they heard the news. They were deeply grieved and very angry that Shechem had committed such a disgraceful act in Israel, for it was a violation of their family's honor. Hamor tried to speak with them, saying, "My son Shechem has a deep desire for your daughter. Please let him marry her. Integrate with us by giving us your daughters and taking our daughters for yourselves. Live among us, the land is open to you. Settle here and trade here and acquire property here." Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Please be kind to me and I will give you anything you ask for. Just give me the young woman as my wife. Ask me any bride price you want, no matter how high, and I will pay it. Just give me the young woman." But Jacob's sons answered Shechem and his father with cunning, because Shechem had defiled their sister Dinah. They said, "We couldn't possibly give our sister to a man who isn't circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us, but we will agree to your request on one condition. Every male among you must be circumcised, just as we are. Then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We will live among you and become one people. But if you won't listen to us and be circumcised, we will take our sister and leave." These words pleased Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man was eager to do this because he was so in love with Jacob's daughter, and he was the most respected person in all his father's household. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the town gate and spoke to the men of their town. "These men are our friends. Let them live among us in our land. This land is large enough for both of us, so let's take their daughters as wives and give them our daughters. The only way we can agree to live together is if every male among you will be circumcised, just as we are. If we do that, won't all their livestock and property and animals become ours? All we have to do is agree, and they will live among us." So all the men who went out of the city gate agreed with Hamor and Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. But 3 days later, when all the men were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took a sword and entered the city without fear. They slaughtered every male there, including Hamor and his son Shechem, and rescued Dinah from Shechem's house. Then they left. The brothers plundered the city because their sister had been defiled there. They took all the sheep and goats, cattle and donkeys, and everything in the city and the fields, and all the wealth and children and wives, taking everything as plunder. Even everything in their homes they carried off. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have ruined me by making me a stink among the people of this land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. We are few in number, and if they join forces against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?